Picked something up new today, an Uberti, imported by Steger, 1875 Remington Outlaw, nickel plated, 6-shot revolver, 45 Colt. Okay, this is the Uberti replica of the 1875 Remington revolver in nickel finish. This one again made by Uberti in Italy, imported by Steger. And I wanted one of these for a long time. I didn't necessarily want one in nickel finish, although it's growing on me. It's a beautiful gun. I kind of like the case hardened look with the blue barrel and cylinder, but this one I got at such a good deal. I got it used. This gun was originally, well, at least it was sold in 2014. I got a receipt from the original buyer when he bought it in September of 2014. He shot it maybe once. And there's no scoring on the cylinder or anything to indicate it ever even really been fired, although he said he shot it. So it looks brand new. So, and I got this one, even though I was looking for a case hardened one, because I got it for such a good deal on it, then I couldn't really say no. So this this particular one is chambered in 45 Colt. That is this round right here. It is a large 45 caliber round. Initially it was a black powder round. Now, of course, they're smokeless, but you can reload them with black powder. And I will probably do that just for the effect of it. These originally chambered in 4440. This one is not, obviously. Let's see, what else can I say about it? It's a 6-shot revolver. It's a single action, requiring you to won't fire unless you actually cock the hammer and then pull the trigger. This particular hammer is a 4-click hammer. I don't know if that was the original design by Remington, but this one is the way that it is. I know Colts were 4-click hammers, but I'm not sure about Remington. So the first click is kind of like a safety notch. There's a little notch on the hammer that holds it out here. And the reason for that is, and you can see through it there, just in your gap here, you can see, you don't see the firing pin. But when the hammer is down, you do. Well, what sits there is the primer of your round would be right where that firing pin is sitting. So that's not a very safe way to carry it. So I think their way of dealing with that was, hey, let's put the safety notch in here so that the firing pin is off the primer and you can load 6 and carry it. I'm not so sure that's really safe because I don't know. That notch isn't very stout. So a good bump here or a drop, and I'm afraid, you know, it might actually drop on the primer, set a round off, and that could be very bad. All right, second notch, the second click is considered half cock, and this is how you load the pistol and unload it. You have a loading lever here. It exposes your cylinder, and then you just load it and unload it one at a time. All right, and then you have 2 more clicks, and now it's full cock. And then you can pull the trigger. Trigger won't pull on any other stage of that movement until it's past that 4th click, and then you can pull the trigger, and it'll actually fire around. So go ahead and load it just to demonstrate that. So go to half cock, open your loading gate. I've got some snap caps here. Now there are 2 ways to load it. We talked about loading all 6 and then using the safety. I'm not so sure that's the safest way to carry it. Then there's something called the Cowboy Load. So I'm gonna try to demonstrate that here at this weird camera angle. So you load 1, skip 1, load 1, 2, 3, 4, close your gate, cock your hammer, and then drop it. And when you drop it, that'll be your empty cylinder. And you can see through that hole there, that cylinder gap, you can see your case heads go down here, but there's nothing up top because there's no round in that top chamber. So that firing pin isn't going to hit anything. Safe way to carry. Downside is you only hold 5 rounds. So if you decided then you wanted to carry 6, put that 6th round in, and drop it. Be careful to drop it slowly because you're dropping it on a primer, and you can see through here now that your case heads go all the way. So this is actually resting on a primer. So you'd come back to your first click, that safety notch, and you see that hammer's back just a tiny bit. And that keeps that firing pin off of that. And the reason for that is this firing pin is fixed. It is on here. I mean, it floats, but it doesn't move back and forth. So it's not a safety per se. And you can see in here, there's no transfer bar, nothing like that. So it is, I mean, that goes right in there and right on that primer. So problem with carrying this way, even loading this way, like if you're at the range or whatever, you know, if you've just slicked up your gun, put some, you know, shined it up or whatever, wiped it down, and it's a little slick, or your finger's a little sweaty or whatever, and you got some knurling on the back of this hammer, but if you let it slip, and oh, I just shot my neighbor. You know what I mean? So I probably would just load 5, honestly. Unless I'm just out in the woods by myself and I'm keeping the gun in a safe direction. Anyway, enough of that. So unloading it is the same way, half cock. Open your loading gate. You have your ejector rod here, and you basically just shoot them out. And these are, of course, are snap caps, so they're coming out very easily. So now you're completely unloaded. Close your loading gate, and you're good to go. I am going to reload it here because I wanted to go over the trigger on this one. A lot of cowboy action shooters talk about slicking their guns up, make them shoot faster, make them shoot, you know, smoother, and all of that. And I get that. However, I thought I would have to do that to this one, but this trigger is so smooth, and I don't even think I need to lighten the hammer any. It's nice, easy pull back, and a hair trigger. I mean, maybe 2 pounds, maybe 2 pounds. I mean, it's just barely touch it, and it goes off. So that is that. A couple other features of this thing. We'll talk about it while I unload it here. Actually, I don't even need to use the ejector rod. I was just doing that for showing you guys, but these are being snap caps. They fall right out. Difference between this one and a Colt. Obviously, this rib here, this is a holdover from Remington's 1858 New Army, which was a cap and ball revolver. This piece used to articulate down to push a plunger in to seat a powder and ball for a cap and ball. You obviously put your caps on here and shoot it that way. Black powder pistol. And Remington kept this rib as kind of like it's their look. Also set it apart from the Colt. Let's see. It doesn't really serve a function other than maybe it adds a little bit of rigidity and a little bit of heft out front. I don't know if you watch a lot of those old West movies and stuff. They do a lot of hitting each other over the head with their pistol versus shooting them. So, you know, you're adding a little bit of thunk to somebody's skull with that extra piece of steel because it's pretty thick. And then taking it down to clean it or whatnot, the cylinder is removable. Obviously, it doesn't flip out or anything to clean it. And on here, there is a push button, and then there's a rod that comes out. On the Colt, this push button here and the rod just comes right here, and you pull the rod all the way out. On this one, and I'm flagging myself, I know that the gun is unloaded. You just pull the rod all the way, and it stops. It's not actually removed from the gun. That's another thing too, you can kind of see, I don't know if you can actually see it or not, the lighting kind of sucks in here, but all the accents, the screws, this cylinder rod, all that stuff are all blue. They're blued steel, but I think it really sets this gun off. It's really nice. So to remove the cylinder, you'd obviously go to half cock and pull the loading gate out, and the cylinder just comes out. Putting it back in is a little bit of a bear. Sorry, it's hard to see on the camera way this angle is, but it just falls out that way. Putting it back in, it's kind of a bear. And what I've had to do with it up to this point is kind of go and kind of play with the trigger a little bit to get it to actually seat. And then push your rod back in, and it automatically pops this screw back out. It's under spring tension. Check your function, and you're good to go. So that's taking it apart for cleaning. You can further take it apart by removing the grip, and that'll expose your hammer spring. You can take these screws out and the screw out here and disassemble the frame. And take all the end parts out. And if you want to slick it up or give it a good clean or whatever, you don't have to do that. I probably will do about once a year, fully strip it. But for the most part, just taking the cylinder out and giving it a good cleaning that way, that's all you really need to do. Shoot black powder, soap and water, a little bit of half and half ballast on water. And that's pretty much all you need to do with cleaning it. So that's the Uberti replica of the Remington Model 1875, called the Outlaw by Uberti, probably not by Remington. And that's it. It's my new acquisition. All right, thanks for watching.